Welcome to the No Te Rindas Intermediate English Podcast, home of the Tenaz Intermediate English app, disponible en noterrindaspodcast.us. Este es un podcast para hispanohablantes que quieren mejorar su comprensión auditiva del inglés de los Estados Unidos. Somos dos hermanos americanos con raíces mexicanas. Soy Gabo o Gabe, aquí con mi hermano mayor Goyo o Greg.
Good evening, good evening.
Hey, man.
Hey, so we're thick into the Olympics this week, are we not?
Yeah, my mom is watching them every night.
And do you have an event that you care about in the Olympics?
Well, I don't have the channel that I need to get to watch the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
So I've just been watching the recaps, but I find it all quite fascinating.
Well, I am enjoying watching the NBA players who are normally rivals or downright enemies play on the same team. Watching LeBron James high five Steph Curry is, amazing to me. So yeah. I'm enjoying seeing those highlights. What's our topic today, Gabo?
Our topic today is going to be some things that some of our listeners have asked us to cover, and that is talking about inside out, backwards, and upside down.
Yeah, these terms are physical in nature, right? They have to do with changing an object in physical space, but they can be either ambiguous, unclear, or just plain out different between English and Spanish, which we're going to see. And as we often do, Gabe's going to start us off with 4 vocabulary items.
All right, so we're going to be talking about the bill of a baseball cap. Okay, or the bill of a baseball cap is that hard thing that's in front of that baseball players wear that shades them from the sun. The bill es una visera. También se llama la parte rígida de una gorra. So a baseball cap has a bill. Is the same word we use for the kind of like a beak on a duck. So un pato tiene un bill en inglés. A duck has a bill.
Yeah, un pico.
Sí. De pato, no de gallo. The next vocabulary word is mirror. A mirror es un espejo. I try to avoid mirrors these days.
No, you're quite handsome.
The next word, we're going to talk about a thick book. So a thick book would be a book with a lot of pages, como un libro grueso o a veces un libro gordo, a thick book. And then the last vocabulary word is socks, which is spelled eso sí que es. Sorry, not really. It's spelled S-O-C-K-S, which does kind of sound like Spanish. But socks are calcetines in some países and medias in other países. So socks, those are the fuzzy things we wear on our feet when we're going to wear shoes most of the time.
Yes, or if you're an old man like me, you wear socks with sandals.
Oh.
Which the children make fun of. Se burlan de mí constantemente.
Yeah, I thought only Germans were supposed to do that. So.
It's made it across the Atlantic to my house. Hey, si te gusta escuchar nuestros episodios y si usas Android, puedes bajar nuestra app Tenaz Intermediate English gratis de Google Play. Brindamos enlaces en nuestra página noterrindaspodcast.us a todas nuestras apps. Haz un clic en la pestaña para aplicaciones. Gracias.
So, let's start with the first of our 3 terms today, backwards. Backwards. This is where you might say that the back is in the front, con lo de atrás para adelante. In some cases, it can also mean that the left is on the right, such as when you read English or Spanish text in a mirror. If you hold a book up to a mirror, whether it's a thick book or a thin book, the words are going to be backwards.
That's right.
Now, generally, this is, from what I understand, al revés in Spanish, but al revés has more meanings in Spanish than simply backwards. Backwards in English is a very specific thing. Now, al revés can also mean inside out, which is one of the things we'll talk about today. So inside out would be con las costuras por fuera o con lo de adentro para afuera. But in this case, we're going to start with backwards. You have anything to add?
Yeah, because al revés is double meaninged here. In these cases, we would like to say that one word cannot substitute for the other in English. It would not work to view inside out and backwards as the same thing in English, although al revés can work in both contexts in Spanish. And of course, we have a cognate for that, intercambiable. They are not interchangeable in English. They're not interchangeable. So we want you to hear the differences between inside out and backwards many times during this episode to see if it can stick in your brain, in your noodle.
Gosh, I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. If I said I held a book up to the mirror and the words were inside out, that wouldn't make any sense in English. No. I could only say they were backwards.
All right. Well, we're going to get started by going through backwards, upside down, and inside out with some examples. But before we do, I want you to notice how I'm saying upside down, upside down. Technically, it's written upside down, upside down. But I don't know anybody who says that. Upside down sounds perfect. And it's a little bit of syncope there, as we've talked about in other episodes. And the same thing is true for inside out, inside out. There's a little bit of linking there. It's not inside out. It's inside out, inside out. Almost like you're saying doubt, como duda, inside out. Let's start off with backwards.
Johnny really frustrates me when we go to baseball games. He puts his baseball cap on backwards so that the bill is behind his head, con la visera al revés. Then he complains because the sun is in his eyes, and he asks to borrow my sunglasses. But I'm not wearing a hat, and I need my sunglasses, I say. Why don't you just turn your ball cap around? And he always says, I think it looks cooler backwards. Now, I don't think Johnny really understands the purpose of a baseball cap.
He doesn't understand how it works.
Right. The bill provides shade.
That's right. La visera provee un poco de sombra, de alivio.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe Gabe, he just used to be a catcher, or él era receptor. Los receptores llevan sus gorras al revés. The catchers on a baseball team wear their hats on backwards, right?
Oh, that's right, because they have to wear that protective face mask, and that's why they have to wear it backwards. Okay. En este caso, Johnny se había puesto la gorra al revés.
All right, so something else that you might see backwards, like the bill of a hat, is a corbata or a necktie. Sometimes when I'm in a hurry, Gabe, I will be walking in a parking lot and be putting on my tie, and through whatever knots or means that I'm going through the process of putting on my necktie, the bottom of the tie, where the widest part is, la parte más ancha, it turns around backwards. And so you can see the back of the tie and what we'd call in English the tag, la etiqueta, I think is how you say that in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks ridiculous, and it's always very embarrassing when I look down and see that my tie is on backwards.
Right, it's backwards, and so it looks strange. Okay, yeah. Well, let's move on to upside down, con la boca abajo. You know, I was sitting across from this woman on the bus yesterday, and she was reading a book. I was really impressed at first because it was a really thick book.
Why just at first? Did you think the book was about a stupid topic or something like that?
Oh, no, it wasn't a stupid book at all. It was Moby Dick, which is a classic.
Oh, okay.
However, I had to strain to read the title. I had difficulty reading the title because she was holding the book upside down.
Everybody knows you can't read a book when the book is upside down.
Precisely. Perhaps she was doing some sort of mental exercise trying to read it upside down, because you would also have to read it backwards if that were the case.
That's true. Some of the text would appear backwards.
Now, something that I notice upside down all the time that bothers me, because I'm a snooty, martial arts guy, is that the symbol for the yin yang, which is called a yin yang in Spanish, because it's a Chinese word. The symbol for the yin yang is that circular symbol with a kind of a white, teardrop and a black teardrop. And then there's a white dot in the black side, and there's a black dot in the white side, right? Well,
yeah, like two tadpoles.
Yeah.
Renacuajes, I think that's what they're called. Renacuajes.
Renacuajos, yeah.
Renacuajos, okay.
So, one of the inherent, things about the black side of the yin yang, which is the yin side, is that it's heavy. And so black should always be down. And I see people with yin yang tattoos, tatuajes, and shirts, and most of the time white is down and black is up. So I'm like, that's upside down. But I don't,
upside down.
Yeah, I don't say anything. I just look at it and judge.
You just silently get angry.
Feel snooty.
That's right. Now let's talk about that word snooty for a second. You said you were a snooty martial arts person or something to that effect. What do you mean when you say you're snooty?
So when you're snooty, another way of saying it is snobby, a snob. So that's someone who is, who thinks that they have very high standards, or thinks maybe that they're better than others. So I'm judging this guy with his yin yang tattoo upside down, and I'm thinking, oh, you simpleton, your tattoo is upside down, and you would know this if you were a cool martial arts guy like me. So that's a snooty thing to say.
No te lo mereces, right? You don't deserve to wear. You don't know how to wear it. Yeah.
Right. You don't even understand how it works. So yeah, that, I am a little bit snooty. I'm not as bad as that.
So the next term we're going to talk about is inside out. Inside out. So, Gabe, I have some pure white socks. They don't have a stripe. No hay raya en ellos. I have some pure white socks. Does it matter if I wear the socks inside out?
No, I don't guess it does. Like the fuzzy inside part, you would wear that on the outside, so you'd wear them inside out. I've heard that some people actually prefer to wear their socks like that, inside out. There are whole communities on Reddit, dedicated to wearing socks like that. They say it actually has some benefits. Do you find it beneficial to wear your socks inside out?
Maybe. I was just thinking it would be one less thing to have to think about.
Oh, Well, that's a benefit, I guess.
Laziness.
Well, yes, ser flojo. So one of the things that happens just all along at work is somebody comes to work with their shirt inside out.
Oh my gosh.
And this is usually simply a sign that this person is married.
Huh. How you figure?
So a lot of times when you're married, you're getting up and going to work earlier than your spouse.
Oh.
And so you have to keep it dark in the bedroom when you're getting dressed.
Okay.
And so the last time one of my friends named Justin had his shirt on inside out, I pointed it out. He had just gotten to work, and he was like, "Oh, I got dressed in the dark this morning." He said, "I could only see by the light of my fish tank." So I was like, that's not very much light. But yeah, you notice when something is inside out, because usually the tag, la etiqueta is sticking out, and maybe the seams or the where the sewing is done is
the costura.
Yeah, is very visible. So we tend to notice when something is inside out.
Ooh, and it would be hard to button as well. If you're trying to button a shirt that's inside out, it would be on the wrong side. Yeah.
They'd be backwards.
Okay.
So
they'd be backwards. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I always get up before my wife gets up, and I never put my clothes on inside out. I guess I'm just rude. There's plenty of light for me to see in my house when I'm putting my clothes on.
Stop.
So I guess I'm just being mean to her, and Justin is a better husband than Goyo is.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah, you're turning the lights on. I guess maybe she puts a pillow over her head or something.
Puts a pillow over my head.
Why don't we do our quiz rather than thinking about spousal murder?
Okay, so it's time for our quiz. ¿Qué se queda en el coco hoy? What sticks in your brain after listening to this episode?
Okay, oyentes, pregunta número uno. It's hard to read text or writing in a mirror because the text is A, upside down, B, backwards, or C, inside out. Reading a book in a mirror, the text is one of these ways.
Okay, so if you are looking at a reflection of text, what is normally on the left is going to appear on the right. So that doesn't have anything to do with inside out. You can't make a book or text in the inside go to the outside. That makes no sense. You can read text upside down, but that's not what a mirror would do to it. So the answer has to be backwards. The text in the mirror is backwards.
That is absolutely correct.
Orale. Okay. Question number 2. Oyentes, if I put on my glasses, mis anteojos, if I put on my glasses in a restaurant and they slide off my nose and fall into my soup, am I putting my glasses on A, upside down, B, backwards, or C, inside out?
Okay. We both wear glasses, and they usually stay on our faces and don't slide off of our nose and fall onto anything in front of us, in this case, a big bowl of soup.
That's right. Your fettuccine Alfredo or something.
You can't really turn glasses inside out. I mean, I guess you could try, but it would break them and be a horrible mess.
Yeah. That would be no good. Yeah.
Now, if you wore your glasses backwards, that would be, I guess the only way you could do that would be if you put your glasses on the back of your head, like you had eyes in the back of your head.
Yeah. To go with the visera, to go with the
Right.
bill of the cap back there. So it looks like you're as you're walking away from someone, it looks like you're walking backwards away from them. That would be cool.
So in this case, I'm going to go with A, upside down, because if you put your glasses on upside down, the little nose grabbing piece doesn't work right. And, it's not touching your nose. And so your glasses tend to slide off, especially if your nose is as big as mine is.
Honk. That is correct. Well done.
All right. Let's do a third one if you can stand it. Some experts say that if you wash your socks this way, they will smell better and be cleaner. Are they suggesting that you wash your socks A, upside down, B, backwards, or C, inside out?
Oh, I love this question. Okay, so you can wash socks upside down. I mean, you could have the opening of the sock towards the floor, right? But I can't imagine, I mean, how would that work? In the washing machine or in the sink, they're going to move around and, they're not going to stay upside down. And I don't even know how you could make socks backwards, because socks don't have a normal position that you think of them, such as left to right or right to left, like text is. But you can turn your socks inside out. Absolutely. And that's the part, Gabe, that touches your feet. And so some experts think that getting that part that touches your feet into the hot water and able to wash that part more vigorously is better for both your nose and the cleanliness of the sock.
Okay, well, I'm going to start turning my socks inside out, except for those socks that I am using to filter pond water, like we talked about in our episode about survival strategies. Although maybe that one should be washed inside out too. I know yours probably should.
Yeah, you probably should wash those socks if you have not. I'm back from my survival trip. Wash your socks, please. Hey, we want to thank our patrons. If you would like to become a patron of this show, please go to www.patreon.com, diagonal no te rindas podcast. I want you to know that we're revamping is the word we were using. We're revamping. We're editing the types of benefits that you have. Did you know, Gabe, that every single episode of our show now is on the internet as a transcript? So you no longer need to go to Patreon to read transcripts of our show. They're automatically created.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that is not a reason to go to Patreon. But we are creating activities related to our episodes and putting those on Patreon, and we're putting parts of episodes on Patreon as well. And we'll have more to say about that in the next episode. It's time to shout out our cities around the world that are listening to our show consistently. We really want to thank these folks. And please, if you hear your city, tell somebody about us. You know our show. Say, hey, these guys are fun to listen to. I'm learning English from them. Will you please check them out too? Singapore, Gabe. Singapore is consistently listening to our show. Someone in Troy, New York is popping up over and again. Thank you, Troy, New York. We had a relatively new listener in San Jose, Costa Rica this week, or recently. Thank you so much. And our first listener in South Africa, Gabe,
neat.
In Bloemfontein. I'm sorry that I'm mispronouncing the name of your city. We've had our first listener in Egypt, in Cairo.
Wow.
We have several new listeners in Spain. We have Barcelona and Fontanar in the region of Guadalajara. We have someone in Windsor, Ontario, listening to us, Boise, Idaho, Santa Fe, New Mexico, and 3 new places in Mexico. Metepec, Ensenada, I think that's right, Ensenada, in Baja California, and Heroica Caborca in Sonora. So, Viva el Tri, thanks for listening to us. Norcross, Georgia, not far from where I live, has a listener, and Columbus, Ohio. Now, we have many other listeners other than these, but we wanted to take a moment today and really focus on thanking you for those, those choices that you're making, those downloads. We believe in this show. We think that this show can help a lot of people, and you're helping us by telling others about us. Thank you again. Now, I have 2 other special thank yous, Gabe. One is to the English language students at the Latin American Association of Atlanta. They were kind enough to let me observe their class all summer, and some of them are now listening to the show, such as in Norcross. So keep listening, guys. It was such a pleasure to meet you. Un placer en conocerlos y trabajar con ustedes. Sigan escuchándonos. And then I want to say a special thank you to my conversational partner, Giovanna in Lima, Peru. She is very important to me as a Spanish teacher. She's helping me with my Spanish, and I'm helping her with her English. So thank you, Giovanna.
Please do us a huge favor and take a minute right now to review or rate our podcast. We have hundreds of listeners, but only a very small number of reviews. Reviews really help us grow and continue to produce this podcast. If you find this podcast helpful and want us to make more episodes, please tell others about it by rating our show or leaving a review.
And remember that we have published a series of applications for Android users to play games associated with the concepts on our show. And those can be found on the Google Play Store, but the link to that is on our website, noteorindaspodcast.us. And we have a blog there. We have our social media links there. You can leave us a message there or buy us a coffee. There's a lot of fantastic help available for you at noteorindaspodcast.us.
Well, I hope you have a great time continuing to watch the Olympics, and I will always be a day behind you watching the recaps on the internet. But I have been very excited thus far. I think Paris is an amazing city, and just the fact that they did their opening ceremonies as a boat parade was so progressive. So I tell you, I'm really, really stoked about it, and I know you are too.
Yeah, I hope our ball team continues to do well. I saw some good performance from the U.S. men's national team in soccer. And I'm also, of course, really impressed with Simone Biles, the gymnast. So go Team USA. All right. Well, I love you, bro.
All right. I love you. Have a great week, and I look forward to doing this again with you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.